Okay guys, I hope you are doing well. How can we identify alcohols or haloalkanes as primary, secondary, and tertiary? Okay, in this video we are going to see how to identify alcohols and haloalkanes as primary, secondary, and tertiary. Okay, let's start with a primary alcohol. Let's say you have this. This is an ethanol. To identify an alcohol as primary, you have to look for an hydroxyl group first. So this is an hydroxyl group and it is the functional group for an alcohol. So when you look at this organic compound, you can see that the hydroxyl group is attached to this carbon atom. You can see that the carbon atom in red. So when the carbon atom, which is attached to hydroxyl group, is also attached to one other carbon atom, this will be known as a primary alcohol. Okay, let's see a secondary alcohol. So a secondary alcohol, how to identify it? Let's say you have this organic compound, which is an alcohol. Now, to identify this as a secondary alcohol, we have to look for an hydroxyl group. This is an hydroxyl group. It is attached to this carbon atom, which is in red. And you have to check how many other carbon atoms are attached to that carbon atom, which is attached to the hydroxyl group. You can see this is the carbon atom, which is attached to the hydroxyl group. And it is also attached to how many other carbon atoms? 1 and then 2. You can see 1 and 2. So when it is attached to 2 other carbon atoms, this will be known as a secondary alcohol. Okay. And now for a tertiary alcohol, you can guess when we have this alcohol, for example, you can see there is the carbon atom. It is attached to the hydroxyl group. You can see how many other carbon atoms are attached to this carbon atom. You can see 1, 2, and then 3. So this will be known as a tertiary alcohol. So this is how you identify your primary, secondary, and tertiary alcohol. You have to look for the number of carbon atoms attached to the carbon atom joined to the hydroxyl group. Okay, so these carbon atoms can be known as a primary carbon atom, and this is a secondary carbon atom, and this is a tertiary carbon atom. Okay, you can do the same for primary haloalkane or primary alkyl halide. Okay, when we have this, you can see the carbon atom is attached to this halogen, which is chlorine. It is also attached to one other carbon atom, and this will be known as a primary haloalkane or primary alkyl halide. The same is true for a secondary haloalkane or secondary alkyl halide. You can see when you have this carbon atom in red, which is attached to a halogen atom, which is bromine. And you can see it is also attached to how many other carbon atoms? 1 and 2. So this will be known as a secondary haloalkane or secondary alkyl halide. And the same is true for a tertiary haloalkane or a tertiary alkyl halide. You can see when you have this carbon atom, which is attached to this halogen atom, it is also attached to how many other carbon atoms? 1, 2, and 3. So this will be known as a tertiary haloalkane or a tertiary alkyl halide. So this is how you identify your alcohols and haloalkane as primary, secondary, and tertiary, right? Very simple. Okay, please don't forget to subscribe and activate the notification bell so that you can be notified when new content are posted. Okay, see you next time and take care.